Hey y'all, it's Diane with Shawcraft One and my old barn door, and this is video 3 in my making a journal cover to cover series. And in the last video I told you that I was going to show you how to sew in the signatures, but there's a couple of things that I need to show you before we sew in the signatures. So we'll do that in this video, and then I'll show you in the next video how to sew in the signatures. So the first thing I want to show you how to do is break your binding, or kind of break in your book. So what we've done so far is we have the inside covers, the outside covers. We put a bookmark and a pen holder in the book. So we've let it dry, and now we need to fold the book so that we start training the paper where it needs to bend. So what I usually do is just take a ruler, and I you can kind of tell, you can see where it's creasing. If you pull up one side, you can kind of see where it's already starting to crease. And what I'll do is I take a ruler and just, you don't want to come up too fast because it will sometimes break or tear your paper, especially if it's a thicker paper. So what I do is I just kind of real easy encourage the paper to bend where I need it to bend until it's all the way straight up. Now you don't have to go all the way over because it will break, and your journal's not going to be used that way anyway, so you only need to go about that far with it. And then you take it down, bend it up a couple of times, and then you have your crease where you know that your journal needs to bend. Okay, and then we're going to do the same with this side, and you can kind of feel in here. And this one, sometimes you're going to get a crinkle. You can see the crinkle right here, but that's okay because as you decorate it and things like that, so as it starts bending, we're just going to come up with this, and we want to do it real easy, but you do want to put a little pressure on it. You can tell which side I put on first because this side's a little drier than this side was, and that's why it's not bending as easily. So you just put pressure and let off, put pressure and let off until you get the bend where you want it. Okay, so we're almost there. There we go. And it's going to be a little stiff. It will, it'll loosen up the more the journal is used. And that's about as far in as you need to go. And then I just kind of rub right here down at the bottom, and the heat from your hand kind of loosens that up and encourages it to fold a little easier. Okay, and then go down and up a few times. And you just kind of exercise your book. And as you go along making your book, you kind of want to exercise it, you know, a little throughout the process. So I think we're good to go on that. Now the next thing I wanted to show you was what we're going to do is we're going to put an eyelet over here on this side, and that's going to be our closure for the book. So I don't have the Crop-A-Dile. You know, sometimes you just don't have the money to go out and buy the pricey tools, so I've improvised. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure, and I'm at 8 3/4, so halfway would be, I'm probably going to do it at 4 3/8 because I don't want it to be exactly half. So I'm just going to take a pencil and I'm going to mark it at 4 3/8. I'm just going to mark me just a little dot. You see my little dot right there? So that just kind of gives me an idea of where I want my eyelet to go. And the eyelet I'm using, I got these out of the sew-in section. They're a bigger eyelet, and they're probably more for like pants, or they're probably more for fabric. But I've used almost the whole pack because, you know, this is my last one. And they've worked out really, really well. So the first thing we need to do is put a hole here. Okay, so since I don't have the Crop-A-Dile or all the fancy tools to do, you know, my hole punching and the eyelet setting and all of that, we're gonna improvise. I have a hole punch. So I am going to, I don't want to come all the way to the edge because of course then, you know, you're not going to have a hole, you're going to have a gap. So I go in about between 1/4 and 1/2 of an inch, and I'm just going to punch through. Maybe. Sometimes it's a little hard. So, when it gets too hard like that, here's what I do. I have this little kit that I bought years and years and years ago. This is the handle, and this is the hole punch. These are eyelet setters, and this is the hole punches. So, I guess years ago, this was the best that we had, and I've had this forever. It's by Provo Craft, and it's called the Silent Setter, which I don't know why it's called the Silent Setter, because this piece fits in here, and you're supposed to be able just to, you use this little mat, and you're supposed to be able to sit that under there and just kind of punch through, but I have to use a hammer. So I'm going to pause it while I use the hammer real quick, because I know you guys don't want to hear me hammering, and I'll be right back. Okay, hammering's over with. Sorry about that. Okay, so hang on, let me adjust the camera. Alright, so now that I have my hole, and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys this. I don't know if you can see. That hole, totally not perfect, but that's okay, because this little piece is just not big enough to accommodate this size hole. Okay, so what I did is I just kind of punched around like this, you know, to make a bigger hole. Simply because, you know, I don't have the big fancy tools, but I'm not going to let that stop me. So this just goes to show you that you can do this without the big fancy tools. Alright, so now that we have our hole punched, we can get that out of the way, and then on these eyelets, you can see that one is bigger than the other, the hole in it. Okay, so this hole is going to go from the inside, because this is going to fit inside this hole. So see, it's just going to fit right inside. Let me see if I can show you this way. It's just going to fit right inside this hole. So it goes together like that. So in order for it to be neater, you don't want, because these are the pieces that are going to fold. Okay? These little metal pieces right here. I'm sorry, I know that's not focusing. Okay. These little metal pieces right here, they're going to fold into this piece. And I'll show you. So we're just going to take our hole. We're going to push our eyelet through, and see, it gives us a nice clean looking hole. And then we're going to flip it over. We're going to take this piece and we're going to sit it right down in the middle of that hole. Okay, now we're going to flip it back over, and with my eyelet set that I got from Walmart, and I got it in the sewing section, I didn't get it in the craft section because I don't have the Crop-A-Dile, so I knew I needed something different. So they had a little kit that is an eyelet setter for these specific eyelets. And I think I paid like $1.49 or something like that for it. A lot cheaper than a Crop-A-Dile. So I just picked this up. And what you do is you take this piece here. See how it's got the ridge in it? And the ridge in it, your eyelet sits into that ridge. Okay? And so you're going to pick this up. I probably shouldn't have sat it down. Going to pick this up. It still has the eyelet back there, and you're going to line this up with the eyelet to make sure it's sitting down inside that. And then this piece, let's see, this piece has the ridge on it as well. So you're going to take this and you're going to put it into the center of your hole of the eyelet, just like that. And then you take your handy dandy little hammer and you hammer it in. And I'm going to pause you because I don't want you to hear me hammering, so hang on. Actually, you might need to see me hammer it so you can see how easy it is. It's really easy. It's nothing to it. So basically, you just make sure it's sitting into the eyelet really well, and then you're going to just tap. Sorry about the noise. Just tap it a few times. Okay? Then you take that off and make sure that all the little pieces are folded down. And you see what you get? See how those just kind of fold down into the other ring, and that way you have a very neat little hole for a ribbon to go through, and you can use this for your closure. So now that we have our eyelet set, we have our bins, you know, we're conditioning our book. That will be the end of this video. And actually, let me see how much time I have. Yeah, we'll go ahead and end the video here. And then in the next video, I will show you how to do your signatures and get them sewn into your book. So if you like this video, hit the like button. Make sure that you subscribe. Give me some comments below. Leave me some love. I love all you guys, and you guys have a great day.